For a long time, Jarrod Luscombe thought he was the only one. The only one sexually abused by the Christian brother he was once proud to consider his mentor, Brother Daniel Virgil McMahon. For years, Mr Luscombe repressed those memories, but when they resurfaced, his life as a happily married father of two imploded.
Post-traumatic stress disorder, severe depression and anxiety, exceptionally suicidal for years.
That was 17 years ago. Mr Luscombe now sees himself as a survivor. He's a firefighter, living on a rural property with a loving partner and close to his former wife and two sons. But even today, he's still learning to manage the trauma of what happened when he was 16 years old.
Just the feelings of disgust and shame and guilt. As a male, you're not going to tell anybody about that.
But now he wants to talk about Daniel Virgil McMahon. He's in contact with at least 5 other men who claim they were abused by the Christian brother. He believes there are many more. Melbourne lawyer Judy Corton has 4 clients, including Mr Luscombe, who are suing the Christian brothers over McMahon's alleged abuse. She believes there are dozens more.
It's very, very rare for a survivor or victim of childhood sex crimes to be able to disclose or talk about those crimes until they're in their 40s, 50s, 60s, even 70s. These clients are certainly not young men now.
McMahon moved between different institutions and states in the 1960s, 70s and 80s. In WA, he taught at 4 Perth boys' schools. He also spent time in Adelaide and finally Tasmania, where he was accepted into the priesthood. When McMahon died in 2012, his funeral mass was overseen by the Archbishop of Hobart and 18 priests, who remembered a confident, friendly man, generous to a fault. Yet the Catholic Church knew he'd abused boys, agreeing to pay Jarrod compensation in 2004 without the need for an assessment. Mr Luscombe flew to Tasmania to confront McMahon himself. He remembers the priest confessing.
One of the things I wanted to know with him back then was who were the other victims. And he scooted around the subject quite a lot, and eventually he turned around and said, no, there was no other. And made the statement that he loved me, and it was pretty sick.
McMahon's death in 2012 ended the Luscombe family's hope of criminal charges. While McMahon groomed a younger Jarrod with flattery, other boys bore the brunt of his brutality. Dave Kelly, a minister in the McGowan government, knew McMahon as his principal at CBC Fremantle in the 1970s.
He was very physical. He loved to use the strap, which, is about 30 centimetres of leather that they would have stitched together by the local bootmaker. That was the sort of standard, weapon of choice.
Mr Kelly only learned of McMahon's sexual abuse about 8 years ago. In the absence of support from the Christian brothers, he now runs his own support group for victims.
Well, it really does impact your whole life. The couple of guys that spoke to me were able to talk about it as if it was yesterday.
In a statement, the Christian Brothers Oceania say they don't comment on matters which may be the subject of legal proceedings. After so many years, Mr Luscombe has lost faith in Catholic institutions taking responsibility.
If there was a good support service back when I first became ill through all this, maybe my healing might have been a lot better. Maybe I might have been able to save my marriage. Maybe my kids wouldn't have had an emotionally distant father.
He's taken it upon himself to set up a professional support service for male victims of clergy abuse. Rebecca Turner, ABC News.